After reading your comments, one of you definitely had a chance at guessing the real Ghostface motive. I can't prove it, but these theories line up way too perfectly with the trailer. So today we're breaking down the 3 best viewer motives that actually make sense. Let's get into it. What's up, I'm Sippin, and my last Scream 7 motives video blew up way harder than I expected, and the comment section went insane. So today is all about you. I went through dozens and dozens of comments, and I picked the 3 motives that fit the clues we've already seen, the tone of the movie, and what Scream usually does with Ghostface. But before we jump into it, a quick possible spoiler warning for Scream 7, just in case anything were actually to be revealed as true. Also, the comment shout out goes to, I'm sorry if I mispronounced, DrackUnite2428. Thank you for your comment. Now, let's dive on into the first motive.
I'm gonna burn it all down.
This was one of the most interesting viewer motives I came across. As told by commenter Christopher_Haynes, Tatum Riley's parents are seeking revenge on Sydney. They say, Tatum Riley's mother, father, or both as the killer makes perfect sense for Scream 7. They have deep roots in Woodsboro and a personal connection to the original events. Losing their daughter while Sydney survived, combined with the media spectacle around Tatum's death, fuels a powerful, consuming vendetta. The house where Tatum died is a constant reminder of the day their lives were shattered. It represents the moment they lost their daughter and the way the town and media turned her death into a spectacle. Burning the house is their way of destroying the symbol of that trauma. It is not random violence. It's an act of revenge against the place that allowed their daughter's death to happen, and then profited from it. Their psychological strategy includes threatening Sydney's daughter, who is also named Tatum, to force Sydney into a vulnerable, helpless position, making her witness the consequences of their grief and rage. The shared name is no coincidence. It is a cruel, symbolic reminder to Sydney of the trauma the parents endured when they identified their mutilated daughter's body and lost her forever. Choosing one parent or both as the killer increases the intensity of the story, showing how grief can twist people into extreme acts. This theory fits the Scream franchise perfectly because the killers are not random copycats. They have personal motives, insider knowledge, and a deeply emotional obsession that drives the terror, making the story intense, symbolic, and consistent with Wes Craven's rules for killers. I mean, I can't lie here. It actually makes some sense. I mean, brother, it is some spot-on symbolism. The trailer shows Ghostface torching Stu's house, the place where Tatum died in the original, and it's a constant trauma reminder for her family. Just for the tragedy to then be profited off as an Airbnb, dude. Wild.
Can't believe we're staying at the psycho killer B&B.
But that's not all. As we all know by now, Scream 5 and 6 have been massive gaping mirrors of Scream 1 and 2. This motive suggests it could follow along this path by mirroring Scream 2 and, in a way, numerous films. For example, family avenging lost loved ones and media exploitation. So like Mrs. Loomis trying to avenge Billy, even though bro was the one in the wrong, and pretty much kills role in many entries. It's not random, it's emotional obsession with Woodsboro's spectacle, dragging Sydney back. In a way, naming Sydney's daughter Tatum doubles the 2-piece combo meal. Is it out of left field? A little, as the parents would have to be a little bit older. But emotionally, it's a powerful personal motive that fits Scream's tradition of revenge killers. Now quickly before we move on, let me know your thoughts on which motives you think seems the most possible. But our next motive, well, it's a different one for sure.
You and your pretty daughter.
This next motive really has me thinking. I could truly see some of it actually happening. The motive? To target Tatum Prescott primarily. As said by Vincent Evans 1402, the real question is, why now, after 2 whole movies, couple of years, does Ghostface finally decide to kill her again? It makes me believe that the motive is something new and not from the past. Or it could not even be about Sydney at all. Maybe the true target is her daughter, which would mean it's probably one of the friends. Probably stole a boyfriend or something. While I don't see it being as simple as a stolen boyfriend, but what I can fully see happening is possibly something similar to Scream 6, where we have numerous Ghostfaces running amok and one or more of them conspire to take out Tatum for hurting them over something in their past. Having this be the motive would be a unique twist we haven't really seen in the franchise yet. Yeah, we have had other final girls taking center stage in the Carpenter sisters, But that was the plan off the jump. Here, we are all really assuming it's tied to Sydney again. The trailer actually confirms the killers do kind of fixate on Sydney's daughter Tatum. And imagine how meta it would be. It would be a nod to the original where a teenager and her friends are hunted down by a mass killer. But instead of it being Sydney this time around, it's her daughter.
Where is my daughter?
What if we do follow Sydney still, but our shared perspective will be different? Sydney having to navigate being a mom as her child has to fight just as she did as a kid. While I still don't really fully believe this will be the motive, I can see it as plausible for sure. And it would be a cool, fresh new take we haven't really seen in the series. Before we get to the final viewer submitted motive, I yet again have some buddies joining me in our quest to survive a life without a release Scream 7. Why can't it just be 2026 already? Anyways, first up is Shea rants as he talks some motives he finds pretty possible. Will we agree with him? Let's find out. All right, what's up, Shea? Let's hear it, dog. What motives did you select?
All right, so I selected 2. Now, for one of them, I only really agree with the first half. The second half is not really my favorite bit, but the first half is interesting. So this is coming from Avery Riley 578B, I want to say, unless that's 2 H's, where they said, what if the motive is just no motive, but just to kill? Like, seriously, the whole point of not having a why is really scary, and just to kill because of no other reason than to kill is terrifying. They then go on to say, or if it's a Ghostface cult, going after Tatum, then it's a sacrifice for Stu or an honor of Stu to mark the anniversary of Marie Prescott's death and to give Sydney another loss. In fact, you know what's true? I actually do like this whole thing. I thought it was going to go in a completely different direction, but no, I do like the whole comment. I like this theory. Yeah, I think it's interesting.
To me, it's one of those things where, like, I understand that Scream kind of almost has to have a why at the end of the day, but I do like it, like you said, because at the end of the day, like, for, like, Michael Myers, one of the reasons I'm not a huge Rob Zombie fan is because it kind of gives him a why in a way, you know what I mean? Because he was bullied, he had a terrible family life and everything. Whereas in the original, bro had no motive. He didn't have a why. He was just doing it for the love of the game.
He just loved killing.
Yeah, and to me, that just really elevates a horror killer and makes them really terrifying at the end of the day. So I do think that is interesting. And like you said, the Tatum thing is cool, because that could almost add into there's not necessarily a motive, but they have that thing where they do want to, hurt Sydney.
I mean, that could be a motive in its own, just hurting Sydney. Maybe they just hate Sydney Prescott, people hate people for no reason.
Yeah, and they're just like, you know what, to hurt her the most, this is what I gotta do.
So the other comment is coming from, I have no idea how to say this, Josh Boy or something, I believe. They said, proper prediction is Stu Macher's sister. If you listen to what they said in the phone calls, you can make out this theory as well was hiding in plain sight, because he never saw her in the first movie, and the burning down the house is significant because that's where she grew up, and she's trying to destroy the legacy. I think it's just interesting, and it adds to the whole destroying the legacy thing, which we were talking about in your previous video, which you guys should go watch, by the way.
Yeah, I do like that. And like you said, I don't necessarily believe in it fully, you know what I mean? Because it gets, there's a lot of technicalities with a lot of these theories where it's like, if Anna Camp is to be Leslie Macher, then why is her son, that old or whatever? There's just a lot of like what ifs, if that were to happen. But I do think it is a really cool theory and a motive, because I like the trying to destroy the legacy motive, especially with them trying to burn the house down. They didn't try to burn the house down previously. They burned it down now that it became an Airbnb like horror destination spot.
Yeah, that's what I got.
All right, well, I appreciate you, my boy Shea.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Thank you for having me. Subscribe to Sippin Ice, guys, and to Ice Sippin.
Yeah.
No one's gonna get that reference.
Check out our live streams if you ever want to get that reference.
Yeah.
Okay. Bro has a point. He might be onto something here. Or should I say y'all are onto something. Speaking on that, if you are enjoying this video so far, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. And if you would like to see another part of us discussing your motives, be sure to let us know down in the comments. Now it's time for the Flett from Another World. And since they weren't in the previous video, he will be giving us his personal motive he believes in. All right, what's up, Flett? I heard you had a really good motive, dude. Let's hear it.
I have a really good motive. I think it's more than just revenge. I think the Ghostface that we're getting in Scream 7 is vendetta going back even before the events of Scream, the original Scream, because I think Westboro has a lot of dark secrets, and this is going on. I think look at the bigger picture here. I think this Ghostface has a bandana against everybody. Something definitely has happened before the Marine Prescott stuff. I think there's a lot of stuff going on in this town that they're not even talking about yet. And I think there's so much that you can explore. I think this Ghostface is definitely going to be has a really, really dark, sick motive that we haven't ever seen before.
I really like that. That's actually pretty interesting. So like, you think it could, it might even go back before Marine was killed and everything like that? You think it's almost like it's just a part of the town, not necessarily just Sydney, but like the town itself?
Yeah, I think something really, really big happened that caused this person to go after everybody, because he's even burned Stu's house. So
you bring up a really good point, how they did burn down Stu's house in the trailer. It's like, because it's, you know, a lot of people were just assuming that it's about Stu Macher. It's about Stu Macher's, you know, presence and his legacy and everything. But it could be about the town's legacy itself as well.
Because I think it's just too easy for it to just to be Stu. And then even for someone that's going after Sydney, I think that there looks the bigger picture. And I think, yeah, we're gonna have killers, but I think there's gonna be a big leader that's really gonna run this cult Ghostface has been going on.
Yeah, that's actually okay. So you think it might be like a cult? Is that what you're saying?
Or maybe not a cult, but maybe something that's bigger. Like, you know what I mean? That's bigger than a cult. Like something.
Oh, so you say it's just something that's been ingrained into the town for a while?
Yeah, like for years, even before Scream 1.
Okay, that's really interesting. And two, because the Ghostface situation is like not just Billy's legacy, it's not just Stu's legacy, it's Woodsboro's legacy.
Yeah,
so I really like that. Yeah, I mean, it could be more about the town itself.
Yeah, because we never really explored Woodsboro ever. It's usually just about Sydney dealing with whoever's going after her and her friends and whatever else. They never really jumped into Woodsboro's history, which I would think would be cool to see.
And I never thought about it, so you really brought something to the plate that I don't think many people have thought about.
For sure. And I always thought too, I know I said this in my video once, I always thought too that Marine Prescott and Marine Reynolds were two separate people. So that's why Marine Prescott never saw, like, never didn't even know who Roman was. That's because she ain't his son at all, and she got blamed for what Rena did. So.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I like that. Okay, it's definitely one of the more interesting motives I've heard and probably ever for this movie. So that's really cool.
Oh yeah, I would have been really thinking about this one for a long time.
Well, heck yeah, very solid motive. Be sure to check out those guys, as they do make some great content and are even greater friends. And now, the motive that basically has been breaking the internet. The final viewer motive comes off the popular theory that Stu is alive, and it comes from YouTuber Hootie Films Entertainment. They say, so I do agree that Stu might not be the killer, however, I don't believe that he is dead. And here's why. I know I haven't made any videos in a while, however, I didn't realize my last video was actually about Scream 7. And when I rewatched my own video, I forgot that I mentioned Mason Gooding talking about Stu's character and how he differs from what we're used to in Scream 1. He said Stu's character in Scream 1 was more grounded. So, first of all, by him saying that, it wouldn't make sense if he were talking about a dead person. Second of all, the definition of more grounded is to be emotionally balanced, realistic, and connected to reality, rather than being overly influenced by emotions or external pressures. So to me, this proves that Stu is alive, but less grounded can mean two different things. Either Stu is alive, and because he's less grounded, he's pissed off seeing how he wouldn't be as in control of his emotions. Or it could mean that Stu has some kind of brain injury due to the TV falling on his head. He would be less grounded than he was in Scream 1 due to a combination of physical, cognitive, and emotional changes, including difficulty processing sensory input, disrupted self-awareness, and emotional dysregulation. Wow, I feel like a damn scholar reading some of those words, even though I probably mispronounced some of those words. But anyways, I think bro made some clever points. So the Stu Macher is alive theory, it's pretty popular. I mean, regardless of Stu's actual outcome, this theory never dies.
Fucking hit me with the phone, Dick!
A lot of people claim he's alive, but going even deeper, this claims Stu isn't just alive. He's completely unhinged and coming back to finish what he started. Or maybe not. But the trailer does pile on Stu teases. His house burns in a personal vendetta. It's his childhood home turned into a tacky murder tourist spot. His voice closes the footage.
This is gonna be fun.
And the killer's Woodsboro nostalgia line points to an original survivor like him. And if they are doing a legacy destruction theme or a cult storyline, having Stu come back as the final twist, not as a mastermind, but as a broken, obsessed relic of the past, it would kind of fit. Is it crazy? Yes. But is it the kind of crazy that Scream fans would explode over? Absolutely. So maybe Stu is alive and somehow survived the stabs in the box TV surprise, but came away with some psychological damage. Those have been some of the most convincing motives left by you all in the comments. While I personally don't fully believe in any of them, I do think they each have their own merits as to why they could be real. I'm still on team AI is being used to mess with Sydney personally, but I respect each and every one of your opinions and thoughts. That's entirely why I decided to do this video, to show off y'all. Do you have a motive you can see happening in Scream 7? Let me know. And if you want to see a part 2 to this, then make sure you hit that like button. Also, I have finally, after months, decided to turn on my memberships. If you would like to join and support me, I would greatly appreciate it. But also know there's no pressure in doing so. Shout out to Shea and the Flett from Another World. I recently did a video talking about some possible motives I could see happening myself. And if you would like to see that, click here. Stay chill, and I will see you next time.